Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Mugello. It is the world final race, the final race in Ferrari Challenge for 2019. The Gold Roof race, I call it. It is the world final. The champions have all been crowned, and now the pressure is off. But actually, the pressure is on, because every driver wants to end the season on an absolute high and to take the world final race. We will see who is going to be victorious at the end of the 25-minute race to come. Delighted to welcome alongside me top Ferrari GT official driver, darned good broadcaster, and actually decent bloke as well. Tony Verlander, good afternoon.
Yeah.
I bigged you there.
So much.
I bigged you up.
Yeah, thank you.
Tony, with all the pressure off these drivers, because all the championships have been won and won now, it's just the world final race, which is it's a race of honor, really, isn't it?
Yeah, we will see a lot of talent, great fights. This is about the honor. Who's going to be the champion of all champions? So, at least, let's say, the first two rows, the pressure is always there, even if you won the championship. But everyone wants to win this race. So. Sure. Hopefully we see some clean fights, no safety car, and we go flat out the whole 25 minutes. We've seen a lot of safety cars during this weekend, so hopefully it's not the case in this one. Let's see.
Adam Carroll, he goes from pole position. Alongside him is Louis Pret, who, talk about dramas, Tony. Louis Pret, who sits on P2, has been declared now as Trofeo Pirelli Pro champion in Europe, but that wasn't the case until after there was an appeal, so real drama for him, but he now knows that he is the champion. He will be going from P2. There's Chris Froggatt, who also is very, very lively and looks in a very good position going from P4 as well. The HRO and driver Chris Froggatt, delighted to welcome him back into the Ferrari Challenge. He's been something of a star. And then the man that presumably will feel bitterly disappointed that he lost out in the championship by a point to Louis Pret. He'll want to right the wrongs of that probably in this race. So he's going to be very determined from the second row inside. So that's going to be very lively going into turn number one. Tony Verlander had indicated that is going to be the case. But before we get into the race action, let's remind you all of where we are here in Mugello. What a venue. Just as we see those pictures, what a night last night was, Tony.
Yeah, that was a great event. A lot of champions got their trophies, and we saw some new cars, some new parts to our race cars, and some impressive improvements that we're going to have next year.
We continue to evolve, don't we? Thomas Neubauer, the Charles Pozzi Courage driver, who has not shone this weekend quite as I thought he would. Will he put it all right when it comes to this world final race this afternoon? Hublot safety car, as always, will lead the cars away on their formation lap. As always, a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge. And I have to say, the atmosphere here in Mugello is absolutely electric. Tony, you race a lot, of course, in the United States of America. I've had the privilege this year of being the voice of lots in North America as well, but something very special about coming back to this iconic European venue.
Yeah, great crowd, great weather. It's been an awesome event, and like I said today in the Italian broadcast, it seems like every year we step up the game. You come to a Ferrari finale saying like this is the event that like best event we had in the recent years, and then the year after we seem to, it's like a village now. It's like a small town with all the cars, street cars available, a lot of historic, iconic race cars that Ferrari has had a great success, and this year celebrating a lot of anniversaries, and there's a lot of things going on. There's a place for the kids and families, and so it's a nice weekend around Ferrari racing, history, and iconic brand.
You make a very good point, Tony, because Andrea Miladazic said to me this morning, who of course is the coordinator of the Ferrari Challenge, and we had a slap on the back and both agreed what a fantastic night and weekend it has been. A fantastic night last night, but the whole weekend has been something special. And he just said to me, what on earth are we going to do to better that next year? You know, every year it seems to be a step up, Tony.
Good morning, Mugello. Good morning, Italy. Good morning to... Final round.
Just some of the images of this weekend. Tempted to say, and I said it on my social media yesterday, Tony, when Ferrari do a job, they do it very well.
Yeah, it's really impressive. You see the TV feed, you see the ceremonies we had, the prize-giving ceremonies, the gala on Friday. So everything is just really well planned, organized, and it's always an experience, a visual experience. And you leave the gala or the prize-giving ceremony impressed, because it's and also the timing is perfect. You know, sometimes the prize-giving ceremony can be long, boring, really. But these things, there's a right timing for the trophies, for the champions. Then we have the videos, we see the future, we see what we've done during the year, and then we have fun in the end. And that's all about. That's the main thing, to have fun.
Tony's absolutely right. It's all about having fun. Of course, that's what all the drivers do. That's, of course, you compete and race to win. Of course, you want to win, but you've got to enjoy doing it in the same process. Adam Carroll goes from pole position with Louis Pret alongside. Then it's Nicolo Schiro and Chris Froggatt. Björn Grossman and Thomas Neubauer complete the first 3 rows of the grid for this Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli Am World Final race. Then it's Sam Smith and Fabian Volvend, who comes into this race as defending champion, if you like, of World Final. Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, and then Benjamin Ites, who is the best of the North American drivers, goes from the 5th row of the grid, ahead of Mathieu Weibo. Then it's Philippe Pret and Go Max and Frederick Espersen, ahead of Tommaso Roca, and whole, you can see, just a real collection of talent there. Mark Musso and Neil Gahani and Dave Musial, Christian Overgaard, Frank Rumi, John Megru, who was successful yesterday. It's a big grid of cars, Tony. It's 24 cars. And this circuit here at Mugello, it kind of one corner leads into another. There's very little time to relax. You're on it all the time. And even though the race duration has been shortened to 25 minutes, these drivers, they're not going to have almost a moment to breathe.
Yeah, it's physically demanding. The track, as you said, it's sort of, you need a certain flow.
Yes.
Not easy to overtake if the defending driver decides not to give the space. A lot of contacts predicted. Not easy, as we said. There's been safety cars during the weekend. Hopefully we don't have one in this. Even the probability is quite high.
Yes,
a lot of talent, especially in the front of the grid. Adam Carroll with a lot of experience, even up to Formula 1, single-seaters, GP2, Formula 2.
Yes.
A great driver. Front row, Brett, young driver, maybe a little bit less experienced, but hungry for a win. You could see the fight between Skiro and Brett in their main championship, so there is some tension also. So
yes.
There is some history. So coming into this main event, it creates the extra atmosphere, and start will be super important. It's a 25-minute race, but start, the opening lap, is where you can gain or lose the most in case we get the safety cars restarts as well. So the pressure will be in the braking into turn 1 and leads to turn 2 and 3, the, let's say, a high-speed chicane, change of direction left and right, and there will be a lot of action.
As you say, there are many dynamics at play, aren't there? There's some history, there are some results that will be taken into account from previous encounters and previous battles on track. Adam Carroll, of course, is in the prime position because he goes from P1 on the grid, but the younger Louis Pret, certainly, as Tony has indicated, he's going to want to get the better of him going into the San Donato turn number 1. But the whole grid is littered with talented drivers who have mastered the art of driving these phenomenal 488 Challenge cars, which, let's be truthful, Tony, they are not an easy car to drive well.
Yeah, it takes skill. It takes a lot of skill. You need to have great car control. You have a certain balance in the beginning of the race with the fresher tires. The tire performance will drop during the race, and you will start seeing cars sliding around a little bit more, but you need to keep on it. You need to stay focused, and you cannot lift. You cannot take it easy. You need to be on it all the time. One important thing is here, as the marshals show that cars need to be side by side and ready for the start, is the race start signaling. So the lights have gone off fairly late in almost all the starts, so that creates a lot of pressure for the start as well. Race control will be super checking the cars, really paying attention if there are jump starts or not, and the lines should stay together until the lights go off. And we've seen a couple of starts where cars start to open already, so we're actually getting 4 cars side by side. So that's another thing for the race control, to pay attention in case of jump starts and everything, because the place is the start where can you lose or win a lot.
Stefano Guy smiles into the camera as we get ready for the final race of the Ferrari Challenge season for 2019. The music now will take us to the start-finish line and the final race of the season. Stand by to go racing. Let's go racing. Everyone dives for wherever they can as they ride the crest now. We go almost 5 abreast, Tony, as the cars take to the rumble strips and almost to the grass as well. And into turn number 1, we go 3 abreast. Adam Carroll taken his P1 place taken by Nicolo Skiro immediately, but Adam Carroll is fighting back now. Louis Pret is behind Nicolo Skiro. Adam Carroll then kept his cool and managed to, as one car goes around and is in the gravel, if the car can be recovered from there, thankfully it looks like it can, and can keep going. And you can also see damage to one of the yellow cars, and that could be Sam Smith, not sure. Louis, one car gets very, very sideways there. I think that was the car of Philippe Pret, actually father of Louis, who has gone around. It is Adam Carroll leading from Nicolo Skiro, then it is Louis Pret, then it is Björn Grossman ahead of Fabian Volvend and Chris Froggatt, who's dropped down to P6. Well, Thomas Neubauer is P7, then it's Mathieu Svaibo. Philippe Pret manages to get the car pointing back in the right direction, but of course he's gone right to the back of the pack. So Louis Pret under pressure now from Björn Grossman, but Adam Carroll and Nicolo Skiro beginning to break away just a bit from the rest of the pack. Look at Björn Grossman taking a look at the inside of Louis Pret there. So as they haven't even completed 1 lap yet, Louis Pret really under pressure from Björn Grossman. And the more these two are fighting, of course, it's allowing the front 2 to get away, Tony.
Yeah, Adam Carroll lost the lead for a while. Nicolo Skiro had Nicolas Schiro had a great start. He's a really aggressive driver and takes his opportunities and goes determined into the first corner. He took the lead for a while, ran a little bit wide in the first corner, and Adam Carroll was able to keep the lead, but now we see a lot of pressure from Schiro to Carroll.
So let's see, as Adam Carroll will stick his elbows out metaphorically and try and make the car as wide as possible to prevent Nicolas Schiro coming around the outside. But of course, what Nicolas Schiro hopes is that Adam Carroll runs a little bit wider and allows him to get underneath, but that doesn't happen. But Björn Grossman got underneath Louis Pret. But for the moment, Adam Carroll stays ahead of Nicolas Schiro, and Björn Grossman and Fabian Volvend are both really pressuring that car of Louis Pret. You can see them run wide on the exit of that turn and pick up just a little bit of gravel. That's how hard they're pushing. Then it's Thomas Neubauer and Chris Froggatt in their own little battle there. Before the Mathieu Weibo car, the best of the AM drivers there. Björn Grossman just showing his face to the inside once again of Louis Pret, and out goes the 223 car of John Maygrew. I think that is John Maygrew, the Ferrari of Long Island car, is out of the race. Didn't see what happened to that, but doubtless we will get a replay which will indicate how John Maygrew came out. And Tony Verlander, just what we didn't want, it's a safety car.
Yeah, we saw some contacts earlier, and now this is a clear call for safety car. There's car in the barriers and need to be cleared before we can go back to racing, and this might take a while.
Okay, so John Maygrew then into the tyre barriers there. John Maygrew is still inside the car, but we'll doubtless get a replay and find out exactly how John Maygrew went in. It's Emanuele Maria Tabacchi on his inside. There was contact between the two of them, and at that point and at that speed, whilst the gravel tries to do its job and slow the car down, in fairness, he went full on sideways, didn't he? It was side on into the tyre barriers, which of course they absorb the energy one hopes, and John Maygrew was really in it, wasn't he? But that was with Christian Overgaard, which turned Christian Overgaard around. John Maygrew also involved in that one as well, so difficult one to call that, I think, because Emanuele Maria Tabacchi certainly leaned on him. So we're behind the safety car. Adam Carroll then leads the race from Nicolas Schiro and Louis Pret. Then it's Björn Grossman and Fabian Volvend and Chris Froggatt. And we get the safety car and the John Maygrew car that has got to be recovered. Here we see a replay of the start there. Nicolas Schiro was like a lightning bolt, wasn't he, from the start? And Tony, as you have said, he's an aggressive driver, fair but aggressive, and look at that. Adam Carroll, to be fair, good racing room was left by Adam, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely, but also clever move from Carroll. He didn't force it too much. He left the space, and then he was able to retake the lead in the exit of turn one. So sometimes driver cannot, or let's say misjudge the times where you actually need to keep the space and try to retake the lead later on. Sometimes you force the thing a little bit too much and ends up in a bad way. So Carroll did a good job. Obviously, Schiro, great start, but Carroll also clever to leave the space and then get the lead in the exit and get early on power and have a good run to turn two.
Sometimes, Tony, keeping a cool head plays off, doesn't it?
Yeah, often. It really often does. Yeah.
Well, there is John Maygrew, who's out of the car. He's perfectly okay. He represents Ferrari of Long Island. He's had, well, a mixed weekend as the safety car will come in this lap. Good job done by the recovery teams then, who have ensured that we can go back to race action as quickly as possible. And good to see that John Maygrew is perfectly okay. So safety car comes in at the conclusion of this lap and we go back to racing. I mean, with the race reduced to 25 minutes in any event and the safety car intervention, I mean, this really does become a sprint race, Tony.
Yeah, but I must give credit to the marshals. They really been strong the whole weekend. There's been quite a lot of practice for them taking the cars off the gravel or the barriers, but again, they really reacted quickly, and in the end of this lap, we are back to racing. And here we see the action at the start. In turn number 3, there's a lot of leaning, a lot of banging doors. So good action, and now we are back to green soon.
Credit to marshals. Without those, you and I wouldn't be able to do our jobs, would we? And all around the world, we rely upon those. And certainly a good job that they have done here at Mugello this weekend. So cars weaving from side to side. Well, certainly Adam Carroll is. Nicola Schiro, of course. What he will be doing in the car that's in second place, you're trying to anticipate when the car in front is going to give it the gas pedal.
Yeah, you need to be ready. The leader obviously can decide the pace, decide more or less where to accelerate. But at the same time, Schiro needs to be really close to Adam Carroll, get the slipstream, and try to get a good run to turn one. And I think he did a good job, and he's really getting the slipstream now, going into turn one. Again, outside though, he places the car outside, so it will be tough.
So Nicola Schiro on the outside, Adam Carroll now. Nicola Schiro will hope that he would carry too much speed. Adam Carroll would carry too much speed, and that would allow Nicola Schiro to get underneath the Adam Carroll car, but it wasn't going to happen. Louis Pret is now beginning to pressure Nicola Schiro as well, so it's a three-way fight for this P1 position around this 5.245 kilometer Mugello circuit. So Adam Carroll leading from Louis Pret, takes a look at the inside of Nicola Schiro there, and well, he takes to the grass almost to avoid any contact between the two of them. They're both uber keen to get this P1 position, but of course the more those two fight, that just plays into the hands of Adam Carroll.
Yeah, Brett was in trouble in the actual race start. He didn't have the pace, but now he did look really good on the first half lap after the restart, maybe due to the tire pressures, and he was really putting pressure on Schiro. So let's see what the car in the third place can do, but at least the first half lap looked really good.
Mathieu Svaibo is leading with regards to Trofeo Pirelli AM, but it's Adam Carroll that's leading in terms of Trofeo Pirelli. The two sets of drivers together for this world final race. And Adam Carroll, it's Björn Grossman now all over the back of Louis Pret. And so Louis Pret, who showed extraordinary pace right at the start of the restart, if you will, now is, of course, having to defend from the German driver, Björn Grossman. So we're told that Emanuele Maria Tabacchi and John Maygru's little coming together will not warrant any further action after it was investigated. So they make their way through the final turn and head up towards the start-finish line once again. Then it's Adam Carroll continuing to lead Nicola Schiro. Louis Pret and Björn Grossman virtually welded together in this fight for P3 as Björn Grossman goes to the outside now of Louis Pret, heading into turn number one, the Santa Nata turn, and Björn Grossman has put himself ahead of Louis Pret. That was a very, very good move, and he'd got the pace to be able to do that, Tony.
Yeah, great move, and great action as we always seen in Ferrari Challenge races. A lot of pressure though on Carroll, and Schiro is not giving up, so this ain't over yet.
No, it isn't. And now Björn Grossman will buy into this battle as well. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think Björn has ever taken the world title. Mind you, nor has Adam Carroll, nor has Nicola Schiro. But Björn Grossman, who's been in a number of world finals and has been wronged on a number of occasions, he will desperately want to try and win this. This, a replay of that overtake from Björn Grossman on Louis Pret then. He was brave, bold, and absolutely committed, left braking into turn number one to the last possible moment, but he'd obviously got confidence in the car as well, Tony.
Yeah, that looked really, really good, and to brake that late and to be able to make the corner means that the car is handling well, and he has great pace. So I think he has capped already Pret in P4, and now he's trying to catch the leaders and enter to the fight of the win of this race. So we can see some purple sectors from Grossman and some blue sectors from almost all the drivers, meaning that everybody is flat out and doing their own best sector times.
So you're absolutely right in that he's gapped Louis Pret a little bit now. So
sectors from Grossman and some blue sectors from almost all the drivers, meaning that everybody is flat out and doing their own best sector times.
So you're absolutely right in that he's gapped Louis Pret a little bit now. So so Björn is obviously very confident with the car. The car is delivering the pace that he needs. He has, of course, though, got to get on terms with the P1 and P2 drivers. In terms of Trofeo Pirelli Am, it's Mathieu Vaebo leading Tommaso Rocca at the moment. There is Bjorn Grossman, who we were just talking about. But we go back to the number 97 car of Tommaso Rocca, who's chasing Mathieu Vaebo. Mathieu Vaebo, as I say, who's leading the AM classification in terms of this Trofeo Pirelli World Final race, being chased by Tommaso Rocca at the moment, although Mathieu's has got something like a comfortable margin at the moment between himself and Tommaso Rocca. That said, Tony, you know, there's no margin that's going to be comfortable enough. You can't afford to make mistakes, can you?
No, at this track especially not. There's a lot of gravel. The barriers in some places are really close, so you need to stay focused. There's some high-speed corners. Arrabbiata 1 and 2, one of the best ones in the world.
Yes.
But you need to stay focused, and as we mentioned, even the race is not that long. The drivers are quite tired. You can see a lot of effort from the drivers after the race. So again, heat in the car, the demanding racetrack, a lot of high-speed corners. You need to use the racetrack, be comfortable with your race car, and trust your race car, your skills, to be able to go fast.
Being on board there with Mathieu Vaebo as he took us through the final chicane, and my goodness, you try and straight line that chicane, Tony. You take the curves and, you know, you bounce the car across there, but of course it gains you valuable momentum, and of course shortens the track a little.
Exactly. Nowadays at Mugello racetrack, the curves are pretty low. I think it's because of MotoGP. It's very famous racetrack, also on two wheels, so those smoother curves allow challenge cars to cut them pretty aggressively, and that is all lap time and makes you run the corners faster. And as you said, a chicane almost becomes a straight line the way these cars ride the curves nowadays, so it's quite impressive to see.
There is going to be double the pressure on Adam Carroll shortly, because Bjorn Grossman is continuing to make progress and beginning to get even closer to the two that are currently fighting over the Trofeo Pirelli Pro P1 position. It is Adam Carroll at the moment, then it's Nicolo Schiro, but Bjorn Grossman is chasing. So the live gap between Adam Carroll and Nicolo Schiro, then it's 5/10 between the two of them. You can see Bjorn Grossman getting closer. Last time around, of those three, Bjorn Grossman was the quickest of them. There's no question about that. But the pace that they're delivering here at the moment, they're all in the 53s. They are the only three drivers that are lapping at the moment in the 53s. And as I say, Adam Carroll then is going to feel the pressure, not only probably from Nicolo Schiro, but from Bjorn Grossman too. We're into the final 10.5 minutes of the race. Adam Carroll, for the moment, as Tony has said, a hugely experienced racing driver, not only in GT cars and tin tops, but also across single-seaters as well. I mean, there's no doubting Adam Carroll's talent. I've known Adam for a lot of years, and he is one of those drivers, Tony, that you could almost put him into a wheelbarrow and he could still win a race.
Yeah, I was about to say that he can drive almost everything, and the talent is clear. Whatever he does, he's always among the leaders, along the fastest drivers. So Adam is a great driver.
Fabian Volvend is really pressuring Louis Pret now, but Louis Pret for the moment has been able to defend that P4 position from Fabian Volvend. And right behind Fabian Volvend is Thomas Neubauer, who really has not shone as much this weekend as we expected him to do. The young star in car number 6, Thomas Neubauer. So Louis Pret then, who is currently running P4 with Fabian Volvend P5 and Thomas Neubauer P6. Best of the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers, Mathieu Vaebo, but now it's Emanuele Maria Tabacchi that's moved into P2 in terms of the AMs, because he's got past Tommaso Rocca, and we're on board with Chris Froggatt now, and Chris Froggatt, who is running in that P7 position, trying to chase down Thomas Neubauer. He is within sight. And when you can see the car in front of you in some distance, that provides something of a target for you, Tony.
Yeah, that is true. It gives you that extra motivation to catch the next group, the next car in front of you, and sort of overshadows the tiredness or the effort you're putting in the car. And the main focus is just to catch the drivers in front of you, and that does give the fighting mode and the extra power to do it.
So, Adam Carroll, who thus far has been really, really impressive. But here comes Fabian Volvend on the inside of Louis Pret now into the Buccini turn. She carries too much speed though, and that allows Louis Pret to come back, and of course Thomas Neubauer gets ever closer to the both of them. Fabian Volven desperately trying to find a way past Louis Pret, but just carried too much speed into turn number 14, Tony.
Yeah, you could see the glowing front brake discs, and he had to just brake so hard and trying to keep the car on the racing line, and was not able to do it, and now he's at risk of losing another place.
So Fabian Volven then, she does lose another place to Thomas Neubauer, who's able to put the car ahead of the Octane 126 machine driven by Fabian Volven, who is now relegated to P6. So Louis Pret, he's been able to breathe a sigh of relief just for a moment, because as those two fought, of course, he was able to just focus and concentrate on what he was doing rather than having to look at the rearview mirror. Adam Carroll remains P1 with Nicolo Schiro and Björn Grossman. And behind, though, it's Louis Pret and then Thomas Neubauer and Fabian Volvend, and Chris Froggatt trying to get on terms as well. So going into turn 1 here, you could see Thomas Neubauer had got the job done and positioned the car absolutely perfectly for executing a perfect turn in, I think, to turn number 1. What do I know?
Yeah, he had a good run, and then he placed the car inside and had a great braking, late braking, but he was covering the line nicely as well. What you pointed out is the top 3 guys. They are on their own speed-wise. They're lapping way faster than everybody else, and there's basically no difference between the top 3 drivers on the last lap. Hundredths of a second, just a lap time difference.
Amazing. To be fair, credit to Adam Carroll, who has not made one error at all, has he? And that has meant that he's been able to maintain that sort of 8/10 margin between himself and the car that's chasing, which is Nicolo Schiro. This is Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, who has got past Mathieu Svibo. So Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, who has had an extraordinary season, Tony, having taken the Trofeo Pirelli AM Championship. And it's some credit to the Ferrari Corsa Clienti program, because he did Club Challenge, he did some Corsa Pilota before Club Challenge, did Club Challenge, came into the Challenge, and look at this. He has won not only the Trofeo Pirelli AM honours in terms of the championship, but he's on course now to take the world final as well. Extraordinary driving.
Yeah, this is a great demonstration of how this platform of racing is working. We have the last year's champion, Nielsen, who is running really well in the GT program, being super strong in European Le Mans Series, but also in FIA WEC, which is one of the toughest championships out there. And it shows that if you are fast in challenge car, you have a good possibility to build up your career as a young driver and measure the speed in other disciplines of endurance or GT racing. And on the other hand, also the Pro-Am or the AM platform works really well. You are strong in the business world, you found racing later part in your life, but you can still compete and enjoy and get the same rush, same adrenaline, and to race these cars around the world.
An interesting conversation I had with Cooper McNeil a few months ago when we were in the States together, and he was racing, and you've raced with and against Cooper in your career, and Cooper says never ever ever discount the importance and the competitiveness of the Ferrari Challenge.
Yeah, but it's more or less wherever you go with racing, there is always somebody that is, let's say, the idea better than you, or the level wherever national or which championship you go, there's always somebody that is really strong, and you need to measure your speed against him or them, and never underestimate the challenge that is going to be there to win races. If you win something, it means that you are better than the others, and anyway, the competition is always there.
We're into the final 5 minutes of the race, and I have to say Adam Carroll is looking perhaps more comfortable now, but Nicolo Schiro is really not looking comfortable as Björn Grossman. He's got to have a problem, hasn't he? Because Björn Grossman just went by him as if there you could see the brake discs, or as we say in America, the rotors really lighting up then. And now, with 4 minutes remaining, 3 laps maximum, I would suggest, is Björn going to be able to get on terms with Adam Carroll? The gap between them is 1.1 seconds, but now Nicolo Schiro, whatever issue he had, he seems to be able to come back now. Could it have been that Nicolo made one of those rare, uncharacteristic mistakes?
The overtaking looked pretty easy. Looked like Grossman had way more speed, like Schiro had a gear issue or misshift or something. Just the speed dropped quite a lot on the straight line, and the overtaking looked way too easy. and too early on the straight line. Normally you overtake at the braking zone.
Right.
This was half distance. Now we risk another safety car, and
no.
let's see if the race is over.
Oh no, I think you could be right, because where that car is, and that's the car of Ross Twest, I believe. I think it's Ross Twest that's beached, and where that car is beached, it probably means that for safety reasons they are going to have to throw a safety car. And with only 3 minutes remaining in the race, if a safety car was thrown now, I would suggest that it is the 225 car of Ross Twest of Ferrari of Palm Beach. So I was right there with the marshals on the track as well. A yellow flag. So yellow flag at turn number 1, and the reason for that is they believe the car is far enough away, presumably, Tony?
Yeah, that's possible. I was about to say that maybe the race director may call it just a yellow flag there, and the idea is that the car is in a safe place or not super dangerous place.
Sure.
That group of drivers had some action going on earlier.
Yeah.
A lot of change of positions and even some contact. So in the end, one of the drivers ended up in a gravel trap.
Could this be the year, after so many years of trying, that Björn Grossman could take the world final? He's certainly closing in on Adam Carroll, Tony.
He definitely has some speed, some serious speed, and he's been looking really, really strong after the restart under safety car, and he's been really pushing hard on his car on those Pirelli tires. So let's see if he has the enough speed to challenge Carroll. Carroll with a lot of experience, he knows how to defend, he knows how to defend in the right way.
Yes.
And also the yellow flag into turn 1 helps Carroll.
Of course it does.
Because this way Grossman cannot challenge him into the one of the best overtaking places. And some more contacts here.
It was just a touch from Christian Overgaard
reshaping
there.
Another challenge car. New aero balance.
Ironically, that allowed his teammate Fredrik Aspersen to come through on him.
Yeah.
And so there we are, Christian Overgaard involved in that. And, well, unfortunately, out is the 424 car of Go Max. Following that contact... Ooh,
angry driver.
He is pretty cross about that. There's Louis Pret. So Louis Pret, oh, that was a big save, Tony.
Yeah, that was after Arrabbiata 2 coming into Scarperia, so turn number 10. The car was half to the grass, and now we can see Pret is a little bit in difficulties with the grip level, and a lot of cars challenging him.
Yes, both Thomas Neubauer and Chris Froggatt having gone through. Well, Chris Froggatt not quite, because Louis Pret fights back here. The gap between P1 and P2 in terms of Trofeo Pirelli Pro is 9/10, and we're going to get one more lap, I would suggest, when they cross the timing line for the final lap. Of course, as Tony quite rightly indicated, sure enough, we go into the final lap through the best place possible to overtake. Turn number 1, we have a yellow flag, so clearly no overtaking there. Was that a mistake from Louis? Because
I think it just ran wide at the exit of Arrabbiata. Those are the corners where you really carry a lot of speed, and then he lost the momentum a little bit, because then these cars, one car overtook him, and then side by side with another car, and cost these drivers just time. And here we see the leaders. The gap has been small, but Carroll is looking strong. Great fight to the flag.
Well, both Adam and Björn are fair fighters, to be truthful, and whilst Björn would love to put the years of disappointment behind him of having been denied the world final win on so many occasions, he's got certainly a fierce opponent ahead of him, and Adam Carroll, as I said earlier on, has not put a foot wrong for the entire race as he climbs uphill now. Sorry to say, the best overtaking opportunity Björn potentially would have had on Adam Carroll is gone, because there is a yellow flag there, and you cannot overtake under a yellow, and that around turn number 1. And in any event, I don't think Björn is close enough now, and Adam Carroll's not one of those drivers that tends to make a mistake.
Yeah, you can see both cars, the leading car and the P2 car are sliding around, so the grip level is not the max anymore. Drivers are really pushing hard, and yeah, this looks like a jackpot for Carroll. He looks really strong. One turn, one corner to go, and he's getting the flag.
It's a long corner though, as Adam Carroll puts his car into that corner. Björn Grossman closes to as close as he possibly can, but I fear for the German driver it's going to be denied once again as Adam Carroll heads towards the checkered flag. He becomes the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Pro World Champion.
Great race. Great racing, well done.
Ahead of Björn Grossman, Nicolo Schiro, Fabian Volven, Thomas Neubauer, Louis Pret and Chris Froggatt. assuming nothing else changes. As always, we say a huge thank you to Tony Verlander.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, is he going to round out his season by becoming the Trofeo Pirelli AM champion? Yes, he does. Emanuele Maria Tabacchi becomes world champion for Trofeo Pirelli AM, ahead of Mathieu Weibo and Tommaso Rocca. So there is Emanuele Maria Tabacchi. And Adam Carroll then in car number 47. Didn't put a foot wrong and actually kept his cool going into turn at number 1. And that's when he needed to keep his cool. What an extraordinary race for Trofeo Pirelli honours in terms of the world final. And it goes the way of the Ferrari Budapest driver, Adam Carroll. Cars then take the shortcut, which is just out the back of the Savelli turn number 7, before heading towards Arrabbiata 1, and they make their way into the Parc Fermé area. And with the completion of that race, the Ferrari Challenge 2019 season is all over. But it's not all over here at Mugello yet, because we have the big Ferrari show to come. And of course, the podium for the Trofeo Pirelli drivers. And confirmation of the top 3 in each. Adam Carroll, Björn Grossman, Nicolo Schiro, then Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, Mathieu Weibo, and Tommaso Rocca. Alongside me now, Brian Oliver, who was watching from production control. He tries to produce Tony Verlander and me. It's a big ask, isn't it?
Quite a challenge.
That was a good race, though.
It was great, and Adam Carroll hasn't put a foot wrong all weekend, and the bit that really impressed me was on both the start and the restart after the safety car, how he actually allowed his immediate challengers to get alongside him, didn't allow himself to be flustered by going into the corner too quickly, and always just kept his head and retained that racing line.
Björn Grossman there, congratulated by Christian Berchinger from Octane 126. Perhaps there'll be an air of disappointment. He tried his darndest. One day, Björn, it's got to come your way. It's nice to see Laurent Demers over there to congratulate Adam Carroll.
And Emanuele Tabacchi, he's had a year, hasn't he?
What a year. And as Tony and I were saying, you know, when you consider his route to success in such a short space of time,
Yep.
been amazing, absolutely amazing. Mathieu Weibo here that we're on board with, and here comes Emanuele Maria Tabacchi to make a move down the inside, and he was just committed to it, and he was so convinced that the car would afford him the grip. Well, like a lightning bolt through the inside came Emanuele Maria Tabacchi and made it stick.
Hasn't that been his trademark all year,
has.
though? Yeah. He arrived in Bahrain and nobody had heard of him. They certainly have now, though, haven't they?
Yes, you're absolutely right. So we soak in some of the emotions. You can see the disappointment with Nicolo Schiro, and here comes Brian Oliver with the highlights of Ferrari Challenge, Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM, their world final.
So our final race of this finale Mondiale weekend here at the Mugello circuit. Beautiful weather and the lights went out, and it was Adam Carroll who stepped off pole position and into the lead. You can see there Nicolo Schiro on the inside, but Adam Carroll kept his head, and Louis Pret was also challenging on the outside. But out of that first corner and the first sequence of turns, it was Adam Carroll who led the way. Contact further back, Fredrik Aspersen going spinning, and he did very well to come back later on. There's also Christian Overgaard making contact, and spinning out of the race as we see Emmanuel Maria Tabacchi working his way past the 223 car of John McGrew. McGrew ending up into the gravel trap, then into the fence, bringing out yet another safety car on this weekend. When the flags were flying, once again, Adam Carroll withstanding the challenge from Nicolo Schiro keeps the racing line. The team looked on with much anticipation as Adam Carroll carried on, and Louis Pret and Thomas Neubauer having a fight with Fabian Volvend as well. Fabian Volvend making a great move, but Louis Pret taking it back. And Thomas Neubauer and Fabian Volvend continuing their fight throughout the race. Yet more contact, and it was Christian Overgaard once again who was in the wars. You can see bodywork flying off as Sam Smith watches on from the pit lane. And Christian Overgaard and is that Frederick Espersen as well there in the picture as the teams look on. And there's Frederick Espersen, made a brilliant recovery having dropped to the back of the pack. And another car with bodywork fouling. And the 225 car of Ross Choust going into the gravel trap, bringing out that yellow flag into turn one, and Louis Pret having a very wild ride of things. But it was Adam Carroll who came across to become the world champion in the Trofeo Pirelli World Final.
And what a good job he did too. And the team were pretty pleased with him also. No surprise there, Brian.
And there's Emmanuel Maria Tabacchi, who takes the first place in the Trofeo Pirelli AM category, and he becomes the champion in that category. But there's Adam Carroll there in the red on the right of your picture, shaking hands with Bjorn Grossman and receiving congratulations from the team as he heads up towards the podium.
Don't often see Anthony Cheshire, the team principal, smiling. Nah, I don't mean that, Anthony, but he certainly smiling on this occasion. Let's head up to the podium now then. So as we head up to the podium then, it's Brian and Dave. Well, sounds like a pop group really, doesn't it? The only thing that's lacking is some talent. Fabian Volvend looks on. And in terms of the World Final classification then, Adam Carroll P1, Bjorn Grossman P2, Nicolo Schiro P3, with Fabian Volvend just off the podium, Thomas Neubauer, Louis Pret, Chris Froggatt, then Mark Musso, and following Mark Musso, Frederick Espersen, Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, then there was Mathieu Svaibo, Thomas O'Rourke, Imada Espersen ahead of his teammate Christian Overgaard in the final moments that was, and then Philippe Pret and Dave Musial, Siad Gandor, Go Max, and Go Max of course a couple of laps down following that collision, and he was into the pit lane but of course still classifies. So we await the podium, and it's got very busy in the pit lane all of a sudden. We can see from our commentary vantage point just how busy it is in the pit lane to celebrate those drivers on the podium. And there is the team celebrating. And we can now hear Michele Mambelli about to bring the drivers out onto the podium, Brian, for the celebrations, which I really rather suggest are going to be quite loud and proud.
Well, as the last race of the season, there's nothing less to lose now, so everybody all out for the celebrations, bringing to an end what has been a wonderful year of racing in all of the series of the Ferrari Challenge. As we see Emanuel Maria Tabacchi, the winner in the Trofeo Pirelli AM category, taking the top step of the podium alongside Matthias Weibo and Tommaso Rocca.
The anthem plays out, and not for the first time we see Emanuele Maria Tabacchi on the top step of the podium, and here comes the trophy presentations then. Davide Rigon, who will be taking part in the Ferrari show in just a few moments' time. Here comes Daniel Serra, official Ferrari GT driver, also making a trophy presentation, but to Matthias Weibo. Who will it be then that presents Emanuele Maria Tabacchi with his trophy? It is one Mr. James Collado, who makes the trophy presentation. This is the Trofeo Pirelli AM World Final presentation that you're watching and enjoying at the moment. He also receives the Gianfranco Vaccari presented Pirelli trophy. Great fun doing some interviews with those trophies, which are absolute mirrors. Oof, Daniel Serra nearly wiped out by Matthias Weibo and his trophy then.
How many trophies must have Emanuele Maria Tabacchi won this year? His mantelpiece must be getting larger.
It's got an RSJ beneath it now to support the weight of the silverware. Here comes the champagne as our GT drivers show their turn of speed in terms of escaping from the champagne shower. And Emanuele Maria Tabacchi gets absolutely slaughtered by champagne, and quite rightly so. He has had a remarkable season. Super slow-mos are the top three then for Trofeo Pirelli AM. Tommaso Rocca for Rosso Corsa, P3. P2 for Scuderia Prague and Matthias Weibo. P1 for Emanuele Maria Tabacchi and Rosso Corsa. Double bubble for the Rosso Corsa team in terms of the podium. So the fans look on then, awaiting the Trofeo Pirelli Pro podium to come. And we'll be welcoming Nicola Schiro, Björn Grossman and Adam Carroll onto the podium. There's Nicola Schiro. Björn Grossman then. And on the top step, it's reserved for Adam Carroll. National anthem. National anthem plays out for Adam Carroll, victorious in the world final for Trofeo Pirelli Pro. And here comes the trophy presentations. Mr. Antonello Coletta, the head of Ferrari GT Sporting Activities, makes the trophy presentation to Nicola Schiro. And then Michael Leiters, the Ferrari Chief Technical Officer, makes the trophy presentation to Björn Grossman. And for P1, Adam Carroll Mr. Enrico Galera making the trophy presentation, the Ferrari Chief Marketing and Commercial Director. And, of course, the Pirelli Trophy to be awarded as well by Gianfranco Vaccari.
And please now for all drivers on the first step of the podium and lifting your trophy up.
So everyone poses for the photographs.
Okay?
Big smiles all round.
Questo è il podio, podio per i vincitori, questo è il campione del mondo, il podio mondiale, Gianfranco Vaccari, il dottor Reiters, il dottor Enrico Galera sul podio.
And you watch everyone escape now as it's almost time for champagne. Björn Grossman, quicker than anybody else. He almost got a jump start when it came to the champagne. From the final race of 2019 in the Ferrari Challenge, thank you so much for watching. Congratulations to all the drivers. Bye-bye for now.